Tonight we have the F3L parade for you. We're still looking for one more team in the WRL, and the GM draft is upon us next week. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for athletic communications. I saw we had 3 on with us when I first jumped on, and now we're down to 2. But if you are one of the 2 that are out there, come online and say hey to us tonight. We would appreciate it. I think the majority of everybody is actually out playing the new NCAA. If Discord is telling the truth right now, everybody is out playing that thing right now. So we do have one comment that's out there. Sean is there. Sean was actually out there working on that. GP, what's up? How are you? So Sean, what's going on with the NCAA? Damien's on with us as well too. Are you guys taking a break? Did you pause so you guys can jump in here? Hey Josh, what's going on, man? Good to see you as well. Hey, so a couple of you on here. Let's see. Josh is going to get talked about tonight. Damien's going to get talked about a little bit tonight. I'm getting talked about because I have the Orlando Rage on tonight. So we're going to talk about that when we do the parade of teams for the F3L. So F3L is going to probably dominate the majority of the show tonight. Yeah, if you want a snooze fest and send you to bed early, you come in here and watch the Fanatically Real broadcast. That's for sure. Hey, so. Just like we used to do with the old defunct dynasty teams, I wanted to do a parade of teams for the 16 teams that we have for the F3L. And for those who don't know what the F3L, it's the new salary and contract league that we decided to bring underneath the umbrella of the FSA. Matt Furby and I are co-commissioning it together. Also, you're multitasking while recruiting. Are you recruiting any more guys? What was the wide receiver you guys got here? 5'6", 5'8" earlier. I hope he does go through a growth spurt for you. MJ with us as well. MJ, how are you? I'm not liking how this baseball game is turning out against you right now. I didn't like the fact that the game 2 of the Cincinnati-Atlanta game got rained out. I had both of the starting pitchers for that game. We're supposed to be going tonight, and now I've lost 2 pitching starts. I think that's put you up by a couple of points and predicted to win by quite a few more points than before. So anyways, we wanted to do this parade of teams for you all tonight. Wanted to do it just like we used to do the old defunct teams, kind of give you a history lesson about the teams that are here. Wanted to do it because we haven't really had the opportunity to showcase the F3L like I wanted to. We finally got the draft done. I think we finished the draft like Thursday or Friday of last week. So we finally got that done. And the waiver wire opens for us tomorrow at noon East Coast time. Now, technically it was open as soon as we got done with the draft, but me and Matt tried to put together a gentleman's agreement saying that we wouldn't do anything until noon tomorrow. So if you're out there, F3L guys, please honor that. Make sure that you don't do any moves until noon tomorrow, East Coast time. Make sure you know what I think the majority of us are in East Coast. So I think there's very few that are outside of the East Coast, but we'll talk about that here in a second. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Wizard Redraft League, which the big league with the 60 teams, or I should say 59 teams right now, is we're still looking for one more. So if you're one of the 9 that are watching this right now, and you're not already in the WRL or know of somebody that you would like to bring in the WRL, let us know. Actually, we'll probably go there right now. I think I'm going to do a short video to put on TikTok tomorrow to see if we can't find somebody as well. Was supposed to do that today. But today's errands kind of got away and took a whole lot more time than they should have today with not a lot of success. Ran a lot of errands and got not a lot done. So, and then we'll finish off tonight's show with talking about the general manager draft that we're going to have next week on the 31st. So let's get into these parade of teams. So I'm going to shrink myself here. We're going to pull up the very first team. This is going to be in alphabetical order by team name, not necessarily the city or state that they are representing. We're going to do it by team name. So the first one we got on docket is the Boston Brawlers. Their general manager is Jonathan Broughton. So the Boston Brawlers were a professional American football team based in Boston, Massachusetts. They were a charter member of the Fall Experimental Football League, the FXFL, which tried to become the developmental league for the NFL back in 2014. The team never found an owner willing to keep them in Boston. The league confirmed it would not return to Boston for the 2015 season and then relocated the franchise to Niles, Ohio. I'm from Ohio, no idea where that's at. And they changed the team name to the Mahoning Valley Brawlers. No idea why that was. The league did not have enough money to continue operating, even with just 4 teams in 2015, and the league folded along with the Boston Brawlers. If you've never seen one of these before, stick around. You're going to learn. Hanley out there as well. I for some reason, I think you end up being the very last team that we talk about just by alphabetical tonight. So if you don't know a lot of history about these teams that are in the F3L, you're going to learn quite a bit tonight, as I did as I was doing these for the teams that were new to the FSA, because a lot of the guys that were in the defunct dynasty leagues with us before rolled over and used the same teams that they were using there. But this next one is not a rollover, and it's not even a professional football team, which is the theme we were trying to go with. But I gave a little bit of creative freedom with some of these, and you'll see as we go along. The next one that we've got up is the Nebraska Bug Eaters and their general manager, who's a co-general manager, Cody Wallinger, but I don't know who the other GM is with them. Cody was supposed to get back with me today about another picture and maybe a name, but we didn't get it. No big deal. Going to roll with Cody here as the solo guy for the night. So not a professional football team, but actually the Nebraska Cornhuskers before they were the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So in the 1890s, that's not a typo, 1890s, they called themselves the Bug Eaters after the statewide nickname, which came from Nebraska's numerous bull bats, which they called Bug Eaters. Bull bats actually was just a nighthawk bird, which is why the logo is what it is. But they called them bull bats, they called them Bug Eaters. The name was also apt because of the poverty-stricken appearance of many parts of the state back then. But in 1900, a sports correspondent started calling the team the Cornhuskers, and by 1907, the team name was accepted. But until then, they were the Bug Eaters. We did a little bit of creative freedom with the logo on this one, and this is what we have for the Nebraska Bug Eaters. The next one, the Toledo Bullfrogs, and their general manager, Blake Campbell. So the Toledo Bullfrogs was to be a professional arena football team based in the Lucas County Arena in Toledo, Ohio. They were scheduled to play in the AF2, which was the developmental league for the Arena Football League in 2010, but the league itself folded in 2009, so the team never played a game. And if you the Toledo Bullfrogs website still exists right now, but if you go out and look it up and you click on a link, it takes you directly to the Toledo Walleye website, which is an ice hockey team for the ECHL, which is the East Coast Hockey League. On May 6th, 2020, the Toledo Walleye revealed the uniforms that the Bullfrogs would have worn, which is what you're looking at right now, or a recreation by yours truly of what they would have looked like. And they were selling T-shirts for the Bullfrogs on the Toledo Walleye's website, which is called the Swamp Shop. Might still be there. I didn't look it up today to see if it was or not. So maybe somebody can go out and check that out and see if the T-shirts are still out there or not. Looks like the Hurricanes. We talking about like Miami Hurricanes because of the colors that are on there. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And not only was this uniform revealed, like they had a whole home away and a third jersey reveal for this as well. All of them are slightly a little bit different. This is the one we decided to go with. So pretty cool lay down for the Bullfrogs. This team is a recycle from one of our defunct dynasty teams and is the Erie Explosion. They were a professional American indoor football team based in Erie, Pennsylvania. They were originally founded in 2007 as the Pittsburgh River Rats. They played there in the Professional Indoor Football League, the United Indoor Football League, the Southern Indoor Football League, the Continental Indoor Football League, and the American Indoor Football Association, and operated continuously from 2007 to 2015. On January 8, 2008, the River Rats announced that they would be relocating it to Erie in time for the 2008 season. However, they were just still rebranding themselves as the Erie River Rats back then. They replaced the city's previous AIFA team, which was the Erie Freeze. Then on December 3rd, 2010, the team announced its new Erie Explosion identity. They were also one of the 6 AIFA teams which merged with the Southern Indoor Football League prior to the 2011 season. After 4 more league changes, the Explosion ceased operations after the Lake Erie College of Medicine had pulled its sponsorship of the team after a high number of injuries in 2015. With the cease of operations, 2016 was the first season since 2004 that no indoor football team played in Erie, and professional football has not returned to the city since. They are currently being GM'd by Damian Scott, the mad scientist himself. That's not a bad picture. Yeah, it's pretty nice. You know what the really nice part is, and I wish you know what, I'm going to take time to go back and do that for you one of these days, Damien. I feel like my skills are a little bit better now. I feel like that mad scientist logo that's right there doesn't quite fit on that glass door like it should. So give me some time. I'll go back and fix that for you. We'll make it look a little bit better. And if you have another picture that you want to change that to, but that is a sexy picture, we might just roll with that one for a while. So this next team has a very interesting story along with it, and it's something that's super recent as well. We'll get to that at the end of this. So the Indiana Firebirds were a team in the Arena Football League. Team was based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Home games were played at the Conseco Fieldhouse, which was also the home of the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. Team was originally founded in Albany, New York as the Albany Firebirds, and they played in Albany from 1990 to 2000. On October 19, 2000, the Firebirds announced that they would be relocating to Indianapolis. However, in early September of 2004, the Firebirds owner announced that his company, Lags Football LLC, would cease all business operations for the Firebirds. After the move of the Albany Firebirds franchise to Indiana, an AF2 team called the Albany Conquest took the field to replace the arena football void left by the departure of the Firebirds. After 8 seasons and troubles with fielding a winning team in recent seasons, Conquest owner Walter Robb contemplated shutting down the Conquest franchise. Then on Friday, October 3rd, 2008, Robb announced the return of the team for the 2009 season, but renamed as the Albany Firebirds in the hopes of rebranding the team. Multiple reports in late September 2023 indicated that a team bearing the Albany Firebirds brand would play in the 2024 season. Ownership would not confirm nor deny the reports, but stated that there would be an arena football team in Albany in 2024, either in the revived AFL or in the Indoor Football League. On October 2nd, 2023, the Albany Firebirds were officially announced to be joining the AFL. And if you actually pay attention to the revised AFL, you'll know that the Albany team just lost in Arena Bowl 33 5 nights ago to the Billings Outlaws. Final score there was 46-41. So Firebirds still in existence, but no longer in Indiana. So we are borrowing that brand for the F3L, and general manager E.T. Spencer is heading that team. The Atlanta Flames, another one of the teams that kind of a little bit of creative freedom, not because that we did anything or created anything for them, but they are not a professional football team. They were a professional hockey team based in Atlanta from 1972 to 1980. They were members of the West and later Patrick divisions of the NHL. Along with the New York Islanders, the Flames were created in 1971 as part of the NHL's conflict with the rival World Hockey Association at the time. The team enjoyed modest success on the ice, qualifying for the playoffs in 6 of its 8 seasons, but failed to win a playoff series and won only two postseason games total. The franchise struggled to draw fans, and after averaging only about 10,000 per game by the 79/80 season, they were sold and relocated to Alberta to become the Calgary Flames, as you all know them. And Brian Warren is leading up that team this year. Brian, thank you for the picture. I appreciate it. All right, so the New Jersey Generals, and ran by Kevin Godwin. So they were a franchise in the USFL, the original USFL, which was established in 1982. They began play in spring and summer of 83. The team played 3 seasons from 83 to 85, winning 31 regular season games and losing 25, while also going 0-2 in postseason competition. The New Jersey Generals were one of 8 teams that were officially announced as a USFL franchise when the league was resurrected in 2022. Though it was named after the 1980s USFL team of the same name, which played at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Generals never played in New Jersey nor the New York metropolitan area the original Generals represented, instead playing its home games at the USFL's hub at Protective Stadium and Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama in 2022, and then at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, which they also shared with the Pittsburgh Maulers in 2023, which was under the USFL's stadium sharing model. On December 19, 2023, the USFL informed its players union that the Generals would not be among the 4 USFL teams contracted to be a part of the league's upcoming merger with the XFL, and then died the New Jersey Generals ×2, second time around. The Ohio Glory, general managed, is that even a word? They are GM'd by Damian Gratz. The Ohio Glory was a professional American football team in NFL Europe. Yes, I said that right. An Ohio team in NFL Europe. They played 1 season in 1992 in the World League of American Football, which later became NFL Europe. Columbus, Ohio was awarded the WLAF franchise after the Raleigh-Durham Skyhawks posted an 0-10 season. Ohio didn't do much better, though. They posted a 1-9 record after 1 season of play. The Glory did play their home games in the Ohio State University's Ohio Stadium, though, when they were in operation. St. Louis Gunners has a great story. I love telling this one. So they were an independent professional football team based in St. Louis, Missouri, that played the last 3 games of the 1934 National Football League. So they were an independent team that got picked up by the NFL, and they were replacing the Cincinnati Reds, yes, the Cincinnati Football Reds, on the league schedule after the Reds league membership was suspended. They won their first game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is now the Steelers, but they lost their final 2 games to the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. 6 of the Reds players joined the team for the last 2 games. The team was headquarters at the St. Louis National Guard Armory, which accounts for its nickname, the Gunners. They had a short stint in the American Football League in 1938, but because most of the owners and management of the league thought they were too far west to continue having them part of the league, the Gunners folded in 1939. And I'm going to pull this off for just a second. I know I'm a little bit, let me see if I can point it out. Right there is a great plaque about the St. Louis Gunners that Randy actually gave to me a couple of years ago, and I wanted to plaque it and put it on the wall. Great history lesson there. Some of the same stuff that I just told you all was there, and then some extra stuff that's on there as well. Next up, we got the Columbus Panhandles, the co-commish of the F3L. Matt Furby is running that team. So the Columbus Panhandles were a professional American football team based in Columbus, Ohio. The club was founded in 1901 by the workers at the Panhandle shops of the Pennsylvania Railroad. They were part of the Ohio League from 1904 before folding after 1 season. 3 years later, the team tried again, playing in the Ohio League from 1907 to 1919, not winning a championship before becoming a charter member of the American Professional Football Association, which later became the NFL. The Panhandles are credited with playing the first NFL game against the Dayton Triangles. Following the 1921 season, Joseph Carr became the league's new president. He was the guy that actually renamed the APFA to the NFL. He then discontinued the Panhandles after the 1922 season because of cost and salary demands. Following the 1922 season, the Panhandles became the Columbus Tigers. The Tigers played in the NFL from 1923 to 1926 before disbanding. So sticking with our Ohio theme, we have the Akron Pros. They are GM'd by Gary Russell. Akron Pros were a professional football team that played in Akron, Ohio from 1908 to 1926. The team originated in 1908 as a semi-pro team named the Akron Indians, but later became the Akron Pros in 1920 as a team set out that became a charter member of, as we already mentioned, the APFA, which later became the NFL. In 1926, the name was changed back to the Akron Indians after the earlier semi-pro team but due to financial problems, the team suspended operations in 1927 and surrendered its franchise the following year. And me and Gary found this logo for the AP together online, but I don't believe that it was an original logo. We're talking the early to mid to late 20s. Not a lot of logos on stuff back then. A lot of leather helmets still. So I think this was actually a fan-created logo. We decided to go with it anyways. And I think it looks good. I think it gives homage to a couple of teams that are in Ohio college-wise that use the yellow and blue color scheme, Toledo being one of them, Kent State being the other. All right, so now we're up to the Orlando Rage, general managed by me. This is also a carryover from our defunct dynasty leagues that we had. I believe I had the Orlando Rage in the Alpha defunct dynasty league. So they were an American football team based in Orlando, Florida, and they were part of the XFL that was began by Vince McMahon of back then it was the WWF before it became the WWE. In December 2018, the revival of the XFL announced that it would return to Florida. But because the Alliance of American Football already had the Orlando Apollos in the Orlando market, the XFL opted to place the new team in Tampa, Florida, which was about 80 miles southwest of Orlando, and two cities were connected or are connected by Interstate 4. The league was exploring relocating the Vipers to Orlando shortly before the league suspended operations and went bankrupt in April 2020. In 2022, the league, under new ownership, announced that the New York Guardians were going to relocate to Orlando as the Orlando Guardians. The team took the field on February 18th, 2023, following the XFL merger with the USFL. That was the last season that there was a team in Orlando. Next up, we got the Washington Redskins. This shouldn't be too unfamiliar with anybody. Joshua Lee being the general manager there. So the Redskins were founded in 1932 as the Boston Braves. 5 years later, the team moved to D.C., and they've remained there ever since. 1933, the team's name was changed to the Redskins, which remained the team's name until 2020. We all know this team today as the Washington Commanders, and with Josh being a big fan of them, we decided we let him use this as his F3L team brand. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I thought this turned out pretty well. This was a combination of something I found on Box Out and then a little bit of work on Photoshop as well to get them to the final touches on this. I thought they turned out pretty well too. So the next one, this one's got a great story behind it. So the Oakland Seniors, and we do not have a headshot of Christopher Thomas, but he is the general manager of this team. The Oakland Raiders were originally going to be called the Oakland Seniors after a name the team contest had that name finish first. But after being the target of local jokes, the name was changed to the Raiders just 9 days later after they had already claimed the name Seniors. But the Raiders actually had finished third on the list in the naming contest. And this all happened before the Raiders even took the field in the first year of competition in 1960. Since that team never existed, we had to be a little creative with the branding for the team. But Christopher loved the way this logo turned out and quickly changed it on Discord, which made me really happy that he took to this logo so quickly. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, what did I do? I pushed the wrong button. Hold on. There we go. Let's get back over here to this branding. All right, we got two teams left. Hanley, you're coming up shortly. Second to last team. Both of these kind of connected story-wise. So pay attention to the end of this team and the little bit further down into the final team. First team up of these last two that we got, the Jacksonville Sharks. They are being GM'd by Ted Howard. So they were a professional American football team that was based in Jacksonville, Florida, which also competed in the World Football League in 1974. Sharks folded during the 1974 season due to financial difficulties after playing 14 of the 20 games that were on the schedule. They finished the 14 games with a record of 4-10. They were succeeded by the Jacksonville Express, which also folded when the league ceased operation in 1975. So here's where the connection comes up. Next team we got on the docket, and this is Hanley's been waiting for his team, just happens to be last alphabetically, is the Detroit Wheels. So they were an American football team, and they were a charter member of the defunct World Football League. With under-financed ownership and ever-changing rosters, an ongoing recession, and a non-existent fan base, they just had a lot of bad luck. So the Wheels had no chance of really succeeding. On October 7th, 1974, the league announced it would fold the team unless new owners could be found within 3 days. Since no buyers cropped up and the WFL euthanized the Wheels along with the equally cash-strapped Jacksonville Sharks. They both went away right after the 14th game of the season. The Wheels did not fare as well as Jacksonville did, though. The Wheels finished their abbreviated season with a record of 1-13. So there is your parade of teams for the F3L. I know that we have been going hard with this league for well over a month now, especially with the draft. And I wanted to make sure you guys got your due diligence, and we finally got all of the branding out there for everybody. Now what we need to do for the league is we're going to have the waiver wire open tomorrow. Wait until noon East Coast time. For those of you that are still missing logos in RSO, hit me up. I'll get you a clean copy of the logo. Even if you think you got a logo out there, let me get you a better copy. That way we all have some uniformity that's in there. And then I also know that I still owe you guys the 14-game schedule the way that we're going to do it this year. So let me give you a brief synopsis of what the schedule is going to look like so you kind of have an idea of what should be coming out. 14-game schedule with 16 teams. We've got these broken up into 2 conferences. We've got 2 divisions under each conference with 4 teams in each one, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to play everybody inside your division twice. That's 6 games. You're going to play everybody in the other division inside your conference once. That's 4 more. So there's 10 games. Can't do math. Math is hard. So 6 inside division, 4 outside your division, but inside your conference. And then you're going to play an entire division in the other conference. 1 division, those 4 teams. That will be your last 4 games. That will be a total of 14. And you will play the other conference on a rotational basis. So if you're sitting there right now at F3L, guys, there will be 4 teams that you won't play this year, but you will play those 4 teams next year, if that makes sense. It'll be a rotational basis. So that schedule will get created. The family and I are going to go out of town this weekend for our last family vacation. So I probably won't get to it until we get back from that, but I can promise you by next week sometime, even if it's later in the week, that I will get that schedule up and running for you all. So if you have any questions about it, hit me up on Discord. We are short 1 Wizard Redraft League, the WRL, our big league, a redraft league. We were sitting at 60 teams when a team that needed to back out. They thought they had paid for a different league whenever they paid for ours. They wanted to make sure that they were only playing in 1 league this year. That's all they said that they could handle. So now we have a vacancy in the WRL. Like I said at the top of the show, I'm going to probably put out a TikTok video tomorrow to try to reach the masses. I think we've got a little over 9,000 people that are out there. I'm hoping that maybe we'll be able to catch somebody. However, if you all hit me with a person prior to that, please send them my way. I've reached out and kind of exhausted my collection of people. In fact, I went all the way back to, I think, like 2018, picking up anybody that wasn't currently in the league to see if they wanted to come back. So that's pretty much been exhausted. I had a couple other good leads that all fell through. But if you know anybody, you're out there watching right now, there's 11 of you online. If you know of anybody that wants to jump in, tell them here's the short list of the stats. It is a redraft league. It is a super flex league. It is a tight end premium league. We will play in 5 regions of 12 teams. You will play inside your region. You will play for a regional championship. If you are a regional champion, you will play for a world championship. And the purse is big this year. So you can also send them over to the WRL rules page. If you don't know how to get there, easiest way I can tell you to do it is go out to I Play FSA, go to the fantasy link in the top right-hand corner. When that drop-down menu comes up, click on the WRL. You're now sitting on the My Fantasy League's website for the WRL. Scroll until you see the horizontal menu. There should be a link there that says rules. Click on it and everything's there. Scoring system's there, how we're going to do the draft, all of that fun stuff is there. So sticking with the WRL. So we announced our regional managers last week. We are still working through the GM cards for a couple of more teams. We got 6 that we still need to get done. We have Dan Bradley, which is the Mexican midget, Sean Smith, which is our new guy, Brandon Valinka from Nature Coast Colonials, Coach Bill Minot. We got to get the Merman done. Tony V, also a new team to us this year. Got to get a branding done from him. And then, of course, whoever the team is that we fill with that 6th spot, the final spot, that's the other team that we still got to get GM cards done for. So if you're hearing your name right now, please hit us up so we can get that done for you. Next week will be the GM draft. Here's how that's going to look. We will have the regional draft selection show first, which means that will be the draft order of the 5 regional managers. We're going to do pretty much like what we normally do whenever we do one of the draft selection shows, except for instead of being 12 teams, it's only going to be 5. I'm going to talk to the regional managers between now and next Wednesday so they can see what the dice roll is going to look like for all of the pre-final rolls and what the final roll is going to look like, see if they have any input on those. As soon as we get done, when we get that draft order put on the board that I've already created for the 60 teams, then we're going to start drafting, and it'll be a snake draft. We'll go 1 through 5, 5 through 1, 1 through 5, until all 60 teams are in a region. And then from there, the regional manager will work with the general managers in their region. We will figure out what region you are all going to be represented by as far as a mascot goes. And then I will start putting together the draft selection shows for each one of the regions. We are going to run those. Let me check my calendar again to make sure I'm not lying to you here. We're going to run those. I might not be able to do it. I think we're still on vacation on the 5th. So what I might end up doing is just shifting that one day to the right, and we'll probably do it the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So there will be one on a Saturday that we will do. We will do the draft selection shows. We'll either do it in the order that the draft happens or in reverse order of how the draft happens. But we'll come up with some kind of order. We'll announce it on Discord on which day, which draft selection show is going to happen. This is where you, the general manager, find out what spot you are drafting from in your region. Great show. We do it with some virtual dice online. Seems to be a fan favorite around here. People love whenever I roll snake eyes for whatever reason whenever we do it. But it's good entertainment for about 40, 45 minutes for each one of these draft selection shows. So make sure you don't miss it for your region. That way you'll know what spot you're picking from. And then one more reminder for the APFL. So that's the Alliance Professional Football League. That is our emulation league, dynasty league. The NFL roster cuts are 27 August at 4 p.m. So our roster cut down to 18 players will be the next day, 28 August by 8 p.m. That should be a broadcast day for us. So that will probably be the topic of discussion on the broadcast that night. So you'll cut until 8 p.m. on the 28th, and then we will have the show at 8:30 that night. That is it. Let me take a quick drink here. Holy crap. That's a lot of talking tonight. Much better. So we will be back next week on the 31st. Originally said, I think last show or show before that we would be missing the 31st because the family vacation. Vacation's been shifted a little bit. So we will be back next Wednesday on the 31st. Am I doing that right? Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Hold on. Let me go back and look at my calendar here before I lied to you about the 5th, 6th, 7th thing. So we will be back on the show on the 1st. No, we'll be fine. I'll be able to do the draft selection shows on 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So they'll be in the evenings all of that week. We won't have to roll into a Saturday. We'll use a Saturday as a reserve date in case I can't make one of the other days. But, yeah, we'll be back in town well before that. We'll do the draft selection show for the regional managers and the GM draft next week on the 31st. And then we will do all the draft selection shows for each one of the regions starting on the 5th. So we will be back next week. Got to thank all of the sponsors real quick before we get out of here. It's kind of turned into a long show. Thank you to SMS Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for athletic communications. Thank you to Nature Coast Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. Thank you to the Recast, the official music of the FSA. And then I got to give a shout out and a thanks to Brandon Gums again from Frontier Exchange for helping me put the website together. If you still haven't gone out and looked at the website now that it's back up and running again, go out to iPlayFSA.com and check it out. And if you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube or any of our other social medias, when you go out to iPlayFSA.com, all of our social media is up in the upper right-hand corner. Click on them, go out, friend us, follow us, whatever it is that you do on that particular social media, and we would really appreciate it. That is it. 35 minutes and some change. We will see you next week for a great show with the regional manager draft selection and the GM draft. If you know of anybody to take that final spot in the WRL, please hit us up. Regional managers, if you're still out there watching this, stay around. I'll pull you guys in here and we'll have a chat. You all have a great evening. Thank you, MJ. Appreciate it. Hopefully to see you in here in the studio here in just a few minutes. I'll send the link out to you guys. Talk to you in a bit. See you next week.